By for us over on Capitol Hill is Congressman Buddy Carter, Republican of Georgia. And Congressman, we know you're a strong yes on the vote for the health care bill. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. I want to talk a little bit about the compromise that Kristen was just mentioning to try to get some of these Freedom Caucus members on board, essentially cutting back some of these essential health benefits. Critics of that would argue that's actually going to cause more problems than it'll solve. What is your take on allowing insurers to offer, more bare bones plans for less here?
Well, I have always been in favor of that. I think the essential benefits are going to have to come out at some point. I think the problem we have right now is just the timing of it. Remember, we've always said there are going to be phases to this, and the concern of leadership that has been conveyed to many of us is that if we do this in the reconciliation process, we run the risk of having it kicked out. And if it's kicked out from what we send over there, then the whole reconciliation process is done. And I understand and I appreciate the Freedom Caucus members saying, no, we want it in now, we want it in now. But running the risk of having the whole thing fall apart just because of the timing, I think is something that it's just a risk I don't want to take at this point. I have faith. I have faith in the Health and Human Services Secretary that he can do these things. He can remove those essential health benefits. The Freedom Caucus is absolutely correct. They need to be removed so that people aren't mandated as to what kind of insurance they have to have. What good will it do us to be able to buy insurance across state lines if you have 10 essential health benefits that apply to everyone? Then you're not going to have any decrease in insurance premiums.
Congressman, let me just make sure that I'm clear on this. Do you believe that if this modification happens, it would be a bad idea? You don't support this?
No. I just want to make sure that it's not going to sink the reconciliation process. That's my concern.
How can you make sure about that?
Well, that's where we have to trust in leadership to make sure, because remember, the Senate parliamentarian could rule this out of order. If he rules out of order what we've sent over from the House, then the whole thing's gone. We sink the whole reconciliation process. However, if we have a commitment from the Senate that they put it in, then it can simply be, that part of it could simply be taken out and the process continues on.
So there's two things that you just hit on there, Congressman, that I'd like to follow up with you on. First of all is the idea that there's still question marks about this bill at, I think it's 10:15 East Coast time, with potentially a vote set for later on this afternoon. How in the world will you and your colleagues have enough time to read this thing and know what's in it before voting? Is that not rushing the process?
Well, keep in mind what the questions are. The questions are essentially, at what point in the process do we put these things in? That's what the question is. It's not a question of whether they should be put in. Yeah, there are some people who disagree with it. I understand that. But at the same time, I think most people agree that this is something that's going to happen. But at what phase is it going to happen?
So on that topic, right, there's the argument that's made, right, trust the Senate, essentially. But let me tell you what one of your colleagues, Congressman Charlie Dent, had to say this morning on this network. Listen.
I've been constantly hearing people over here say the Senate's going to take our bill as is and they're going to consider it and likely pass it.
No, they're not.
Of course not. Of course not. We all know that. It's ridiculous. And if I have one more senator tell me this bill is dead on arrival, I think my head's going to explode.
So what do you say, Congressman, to a fellow Republican who's looking at what might happen in the Senate and say, why should I walk that plank?
Well, keep in mind, this is a bicameral process. I mean, you have, in order to get legislation through, you have to go through the House, you have to go through the Senate. That's the way our government was created and was designed to function. So this is regular order. This is what regular order looks like when you have to pass legislation. To some members of our party, it's a little bit foreign. We've been able to do it in the past, only to get it to the White House and have it vetoed. But now we've got the opportunity to go through the entire process. So I'm still very bullish on this. I think we're going to get it done. I'm very optimistic that we're going, at the end of the day, at the end of the process, I should say, that we're going to have this done.
But maybe not the end of today?
Maybe, well, I don't want to hold to the end of the day. I don't like that particular timeline.
Okay, let me ask you about another topic, because I want to get your take on this. We heard from House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, another one of your colleagues, a couple Ago, talking about his decision to go and brief President Trump on some information he says he's learned before briefing other members on his committee or other members of Congress. Senator John McCain, for example, this morning called for a select committee to investigate this independent investigation. I know that's not something you support, but is the argument for an independent investigation bolstered now because of what Devin Nunes did?
I don't think so. Look, I trust the judgment of Chairman Nunes, and you know, facts can be stubborn things. So
you believe he made the right judgment call, as he talked about? You think it was the correct call?
Well, I don't have all the facts as he had all the facts, but he is in the position that he has to make that call. And look, it's difficult. I mean, you're going to have some people who criticize you, some people who criticize you on the other side for not having done it. So,
what do you think he should have done? Where are you on that?
Well, again, I don't have all the facts that he had. I don't have all of those at my disposal. If I were in his position and I had all the facts, then maybe I would have made the same decision, maybe I wouldn't have. But that's beside the point. The point is that, you know, facts are stubborn things sometimes, and we have to make sure that we're doing what is right. This is not a matter of vengeance. It's not a matter of anything except for right and wrong. We are a law of nations. We have to make sure, a nation of laws. We have to make sure that we're following those laws.
Congressman, from the public comments that Chairman Nunes has made, I want to get your take on something, because President Trump said, despite Chairman Nunes saying there is no evidence to support the president's claim that President Obama had Trump Tower wiretapped, the president says he feels somewhat vindicated. Do you think he should feel somewhat vindicated based on what we know now?
Well, you know, again, this is not a case of vindication. This is a case of right and wrong, and that's what the responsibility of the Intelligence Committee is. That's what the responsibility of Chairman Nunes is. He understands that. The Intelligence Committee understands that. The President understands that. At the end of the day, it's a matter of right and wrong, not a matter of vengeance.
The president of his unfounded accusation against President Obama said, the country believes me on the wiretapping claim. There's a new poll out from Quinnipiac this week showing only 19% of the country believes him. Do you believe him?
Look, whether I believe him or not, what I believe are the facts. And what I believe is that we are a nation of laws, and we have to follow those laws. So, you know, you can get all the polls in the world, but at the end of the day, what really matters is right and wrong.
Congressman Buddy Carter, I know it's a busy day for you as well on the Hill.
Yes.
I also hope you have your running shoes on.